INnoVation versus True. We've talked a lot about this one behind the scenes with everybody because we know that True has an unorthodox yet predictable style. You know he's going to bring the cheese. You know he's going to be aggressive. And it's kind of hard to say that he would be able to go toe-to-toe with INnoVation in just a long macro game.
Well, I mean, he can't. Nobody really can. There's like just a handful, 3-4 Zergs in the world that can keep up with the macro of INnoVation. But just looking at True, I guess the problem is I can't see INnoVation not having his bunkers up in time. I don't want to like corner True too much, but this guy is aggressive. He goes for Massling Bane a lot. He goes for Roach type attacks. We might see some Queen drop type of play, right? But just thinking about the way that INnoVation defends, it's super strong.
And True, we've seen him. He kind of came out of the gate last year with that big show up at the end of the year at WCS Montreal, where he just kind of this is my only tournament, go right to the top, win. And he did it by cheesing a lot of people. He played against there wasn't of course as strong of a lineup. He was playing outside of Korea, but he came in strong, and we've seen him not be quite the dominating force that we saw all year last year. He got in this year, but it wasn't he wasn't taking the big championships. And a lot of players seem to have figured out, especially in the foreign scene, how to deal with this sort of aggressive play that he has.
You know, a lot of times when you have a macro player, you want to say, this is the aggressive guerrilla tactic style is how you're going to take someone out like that. But the thing about INnoVation is he doesn't just seem to have any of those holes.
Yeah.
Where I think we're going to see True kind of maneuver into and get the execution. And I also think that this is common knowledge how True plays.
How does someone like True prepare for a matchup like this? What kind of preparation does he have to do to get out of this group?
Well, I think you have to have some very off timings, like things that are going to be hard, like having units at a peculiar time, kind of, where like INnoVation is not going to quite be ready at this exact moment, right? You have to like really slip in between the cracks, but that's why INnoVation is like the greatest player. He doesn't really have those cracks. Like this guy, I would be so surprised if INnoVation is not opening like Reactored Hellions, maybe a Banshee, and then like he has those units. What are you going to do? Are you going to try to Nidus him? Are you Roach timings aren't really going to work against him. He's going to be ready.
True definitely has his work cut out for him going up against this player. Many's favorite for this tournament, but True, as we see, INnoVation is the guy on camera here, but True did reach WCS semifinals, 3 of them in 2017. He made it deep in the tournaments, but he didn't get the big W. And, well, yeah, I mean, the guy he's going up against this is such a feat to try and topple INnoVation.
Yeah, well, INnoVation wins like half the tournaments in Korea. Yeah. Just very close to half.
This guy just doesn't lose.
If INnoVation ever loses, it's an upset.
Yeah.
Anybody beating INnoVation is an
anybody
upset.
beating INnoVation is an upset. That's actually safe to say.
I've been saying it for years. Like, if you just go into a tournament and bet that INnoVation will win, it's just such a solid bet because he is kind of always the favorite. Like, again, sometimes someone else peaks. Like right now, a lot of us are looking at Rogue as a possible champion of BlizzCon, but like all year long, we've been talking about INnoVation and how this guy, well, he's the best. You know, he's like, if he wins BlizzCon, it is not actually a surprise to anybody.
Yeah, and he's played very well throughout the year. We've seen him play a variety of styles, but the thing, as you mentioned, Tasteless, is that whatever he does it better than anybody else. He focuses so hard on these builds. His macro is so difficult to match. How does he prepare for a group like this? Just play normally, right? Like,
I think
does he need to do anything
normally.
weird?
No, I don't think so. He's Skynet, okay? If you activate him, he should win.
I think that he is just like, it's so hard to play against INnoVation. Everyone's afraid of him, and it's such a different afraid than some of our other pros, right? Like you look at like SOS or Hero, right? Everyone's very afraid of them for certain reasons. They're very tricky. INnoVation doesn't need to be tricky. He's just like, hey, I'm going to bulldoze you.
You say, I'm so good. You can try something tricky, but good luck.
INnoVation basically bigger, faster, stronger overall. Somebody who just totally, even though StarCraft is a strategy game, it's also a mechanical game. And this guy has mastered the mechanics.
And it's an interesting thing when you look back to the Signature Series, right? Is he doesn't let his emotions get in his way. He doesn't make emotional mistakes. But thank you very much for your thoughts, gentlemen. We're going to go to this match. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for INnoVation versus True.
Thank you, boys, at the Couch of Casters. We appreciate you guys' analysis. I am in control. This is Todd, and together we're Team Pink Purple. We're happy to be broadcasting this one. It's going to be a doozy of one. Todd, what do you got to add? It's David versus Goliath. It's a tough one.
Absolutely. I think there's no better way to describe this matchup there. For True to beat INnoVation is going to take something truly special.
Yeah.
But we've said that before in the past. I remember a couple of years ago, INnoVation was here at BlizzCon. He was facing Dog in round 1. Everybody was writing off Dog. Remember what happened? INnoVation went out, so why not?
Goose happened. Terrible joke. Sorry, Todd. Go ahead. You're right. Big upsets do happen. To give you guys an idea, though, of how big of an upset this would have to be, we've all seen the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Take out Russell Crowe, put in Steve Buscemi. Same movie? I don't think so. Bigger story? Maybe. But anyways, we're going to get into it anyways. Here in the lower right-hand side, Stasis called him Skynet. Most of them know him as INnoVation. Here he is.
Nice save.
I hate introductions. Go ahead, Todd.
His opponent in the reds, we have True, presenting Sidestorm Gaming. And looking for an upset here.
This is going to be a tough one. So we're starting off here on Interloper. And I liked a lot of, you know, we're going to beat this over your guys' head. It truly is this way, by the way. True's not going to show up to BlizzCon having qualified one way and then all of a sudden become a macro Zerg. It's just going to outplay INnoVation. No siree, Bob. That's not what we're expecting here. We talked about Queen drops as a viable strategy, something along those lines. Now, I will say, even though INnoVation knows True and knows to prepare for this, sometimes those darn cheeses can get in there and can do some damage. It is possible for INnoVation to lose there, but as the game goes on, it becomes less likely.
Yeah, Arthos is referred to, you know, a solid build that would be a reactored Hellions into Banshee, with which a lot of the time you're going to be able to spot what's coming your way. I would say, like, some of these scarier things, I'd say would be some sort of Niders, you know, with Queens and Roaches. Maybe something like that could catch INnoVation off guard, but that would only be like, I feel like even then, if he goes like double eBay, stays really greedy, stays only on one factory, one barracks for a long time, and then one starport, maybe. But even then, as long as he gets enough, as long as INnoVation doesn't overextend, which usually doesn't, he should be all right.
That's the funny thing about INnoVation is, like, sometimes he does overextend, or he does, like, he doesn't have the most incredibly flashy micro, but what's just so stunning about him is, and we saw this really, for me, it was very evident in GSL versus the World, he would, like, lose a TvT battle, but be up in supply afterwards and have a bigger secondary force because of how perfect his macro mechanics are.
He doesn't miss a beat, ever. And I like in the Signature series, you know, they talk about, I think he's a Korean caster, he's talking about how he manages his emotions so well that he doesn't show, like, you know, whether it's happy or sad when winning or losing. I feel like a lot of pro gamers, they've learned to do that super well. By the way, I mean, as the first Reaper is harassing, I mean, nothing too important there. I don't think he should be able to do much as there are enough links, but it's fourth quarter 2 links. But yeah, INnoVation, he's done something that few pro gamers have been able to do, which is that he disconnects himself emotionally, and it makes it easier to deal with losses when you do that. You will show less emotion when you win, and a lot of people will be like, oh my god, like if I won, I would jump naked in the water. No, actually, well, in this case, INnoVation, he's going to deal a lot better with losses, and even when winning, he's obviously going to be happy, despite not always, you know, showing it in the best way. And it's a great way to make sure that you can improve consistently, because then you accept the losses even better, usually.
I think that's an absolutely beautiful point, Todd. It's so true to me because, and I like what you said about wins, because for some players, even the wins is actually, and this Reaper's going to get, never mind, it's a Reaper, it never dies. No, but sometimes a player wins a tournament, and that actually contributes to like a small downfall afterwards. It can hurt motivation. It can be like a, okay, well, I won that, so I'm okay for a while now. INnoVation just never seems satisfied, upset, or overly impressed with himself. So he's just kind of constantly playing top-tier StarCraft. So that's who you're dealing with, guys, and we expect to talk a lot about him throughout all of BlizzCon, unless True has something to say for this. Now, it was a fairly standard opening, and while we have been hyping up this like mega cheesy True for a while now, it so far hasn't taken shape. A very normal opening. Yeah,
True, like he's definitely not given enough credit for his macro at times. Like, sure, he's an aggressive / cheesy player, but he can definitely, you know, take a third base, go up to like, you know, 60+ drones and play well. But a lot of the time he's going to play to his image in the first place, pretend that he's going to go into macro and then do an attack. We see an Evolution Chamber and a lot of links, so he's definitely going to want to be aggressive here with this. And going back to, you know, the emotions thing.
Yeah.
You know, like how in movies they're always like, you know, if he's emotional for the fight, he's going to overextend. Sure. You know, it's going to be bad for him. That's kind of like the way it applies also in the game. Like, you don't want to let your play be affected by your emotions, and INnoVation is so good at that, but he's not seeing this coming here right now. Those are a scary force across the map. We might get into some weird base trade. Does True pull back?
Well, he hits the third and there's nothing there. That's got to be your first sign. He's like, we both had the same idea, I guess. And this Wallen is actually really good for True because
and there's no bunker.
It's just a CC. Not a lot of units behind this, and 4 Queens and that Overlord are going to come over here. Just a couple of Marines. You can't hold this. You got to go back up.
Does True have enough back at home, though? That's the question here. Because he's still going to need to hold on against those Hellbats. There's only a few Queens and some Lings.
Mutually assured destruction, actually. A couple of Queens can spread it out. It looks like, I mean, damage is being accrued here, but inside of INnoVation's base, this is where it gets really interesting for me because I think the Zerg can trickle units out. Here comes the Queens. Zerglings are going to get up that ramp. The depot's low in health. They're going to get inside here now. A Raven was a poor call. It's just not going to do it. In fact, it's gone. Pick up the Queen. No, it dies. And the tank is doing so much damage. He's just not microing over here almost at all. Now the Queen's going to get dropped on top of the tank, but it might be too late, Todd.
Yeah, the Lynx took so long to get in there. The wall was raised here from True, and
that's it.
They had a hard time here, the Lynx killing that, and the Hellbats across the map went crazy. 24 SCVs have died for 13 drones, but the rest of the drones are not mining right now. And remember, INnoVation, he's on double orbital.
Yeah, and he's, I mean, this is the hard part for Zerg. It's like, to deal with that Liberator, you need Queens. To get Queens out, like, 1 or 2 Queens will have, well, never mind, Liberator just died off screen, but he's just not mining off the main. A couple of Queens going to come up here. And these drones should get burnt up here as well. Supply-wise, they're kind of even. Workers also kind of even. Like Todd said, double orbital means that he's going to have more access to mules there. Army supply equal. At first glance, you look at this and you go, hey, come on, commentators. True's not doing that bad. But it's like...
If True had 30 drones right now, if he had lost like a bunch of less drones, he'd be actually in a great position because he's already on 3 bases. So he'd have been able to inject, get a ton more drones, and then been in a very decent position in this game. But the fact that he lost this many drones that he wasn't mining for so long, he's just in a world of trouble there against an INnoVation that's from there. You can expect to make just enough units to go for a follow-up attack, probably restart his 3rd base and just play it solid from there.
It's unfortunate because I feel like had we go way back in time and had he made a Baneling Nest to defend with, not like reactionary to the Hellbats, but had it for when they're walking in. They didn't have medevacs. They weren't, they weren't off creep. You could have Banelinged them down, and then, like you said, a stellar defense with like 30 or so drones surviving at home, and the damage True did, he'd be in phenomenal shape. But as the game goes on, they start off with True slightly ahead, and you're going to see the pacing is going to be in favor of INnoVation for at least a little while here.
Yeah, I mean, True. It's easy to tell, like, hey, he could have had more drones after this and stuff, but then if he had more drones, he would have had less units, so he would have died even harder, right? Like, But maybe he committed too many links across the map, especially like they didn't attack the wall directly, whereas INnoVation, his Hellbats, they attacked the 3rd base for a little bit, and then they went straight away to the natural. That's why True wasn't ready. If INnoVation had given him more time, if he had wasted time trying to kill a 3rd hatch with Hellbats, maybe True could have held better, but now we're in a position where True is starting to finally climb back up on drones, but that means that he has almost no fighting units with his army. And INnoVation, like we see the 3rd base on the way, the double eBay, Steam Pack being researched now. That bench is going to get a bunch more kills.
It's okay for itself, not super amazing, but anything at this stage is going to be just that little extra. That's inconvenient for me. 3rd CC about to finish up here for INnoVation. But I do have to say, I have to hand it to True here a little bit. Interesting exchange of strategies through the beginning, and he's not out of it. This game has more to give.
7 Overlords.
7, yeah, well. Get it out of the way, I suppose. But True's hanging in there. And this map has some interesting dynamics to it. There's a lot of destructible rocks around the map that you're going to see these Lings get to work on. It's going to open up pathways. And that's in favor of True, by the way, to have access to this so that he can start chopping at a 3rd. He can do some counterattacks. That is his style. We're going to get some bio stuff out of INnoVation. And that's where it's going to get... I mean, I feel like a broken record with INnoVation. Like, man, it's going to get tough here because he's going to have 1 million units. Well, INnoVation, no matter what he does, is going to have 1 million units, I guess.
Baneling Nest on the way now for True. Good creep spread. I guess he didn't have that many drones, so he didn't have that much to do for a while, so he really focused on the script tumors. And almost already in the middle of the map. That 4th base is going to be very important. We all remember all of those games, Ling, Bane, usually into Muta against Bio. In this case, with some tanks. The key a lot of the time is to be able to secure that 4th base properly, which INnoVation most definitely will be sieging eventually. But for now, it's just going to be a couple drops going across the map against a Zerg that's... Lair is not even halfway through done, so Muta's out of the question. It's just going to be Queens to try and counter those medivacs and Lings on the ground
In
maybe
a lot
with
of
some
ways,
Banes.
yeah. In a lot of ways, you can almost disregard the clock because this game's just irregular. They had a bit of a reset here, but this is that otherwise normal and tough stage for Zerg where if you don't do a Spire style or have a lot of queens, dealing with this drop is just a pain in the butt because this hatch is going to get picked off. They're going to kill some creep, and then by the time you get over there to react, they just pick up and fly away. And you just got to be at that next spot where they're going to go to. So damage is going to be felt, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to split off the Lings here and send the queens to that third.
Yeah, there's no banelings yet that were made. True confidence that he can defend against the first few Medivacs and Marines with just Lings and Queens. But we see another move out here out on the map. INnoVation trying to out-multitask. True attacking multiple locations. Nice denying of the creep spread. He already kind of did that around the 4th base and now at the bottom as well. So the siege is going to be made much easier here from there. Hydral is then on the way here from True, so no Mutalisks are a thing of the past. In the matchup, it's all about those Hydralisks and Banes with some links for the synergy.
Yep, Hydraling Bane like we saw from Dark, played at the highest of levels. The Queens are going to die here. We did get a shot of some Banelings in a Drop-A-Lord being morphed. So a nice idea here from True, but it's all about kind of withstanding back at home to make that impactful. I mean, you can go ahead and kill 15 SCVs, but if you're not getting a 4th base and losing Queens right and left, then who cares?
Yeah, good defense here from True, but that 4th base still being denied here for the longest of times. We see Infestation Pit here starting. INnoVation quite a bit ahead here on these 2-2 upgrades, which finally True is going to start on his own. Oh, a nice little baiting drop here. 13 SCVs, that's not bad at all. Like INnoVation was finally catching up on the walk account, which, I mean, you don't want to let happen, right? So he kind of sets him back a little bit.
It's phenomenal. More of it. I'd love to see it throughout the entire game. It's really hard for Turn to deal with that. A little side kind of note there for you guys. He had a couple of Zerglings in there because the Banelings right now don't actually one-shot the SCVs. They just get them into deep red. But then the SCVs come in and give the love tap all over the place and finish them off. Now his hatchery gets denied again. One of the Medivacs does die, but at the cost again of 2 queens and another reset on that hatchery. So it's INnoVation that comes out ahead there.
And the creep spread was still being denied there through this move.
Fake.
As it was at the bottom.
Look at INnoVation.
He didn't even pull back. He didn't flinch. Not for 1 second in control.
Stares him dead in the eye and says, "You don't got it in you. You don't have it." He was right that time, but later, man, be careful. Now, INnoVation's starting to poke around. He's going to go ahead and try and take that middle base. This is pretty standard for Terran on this map. This base allows you to defend that back third, control the kind of movement of the lower half of the map, and then start to threaten. He's just going to push right up there. And in true style, he's just counterattacking, which is actually probably the better choice here.
We got some sort of base trade once again going here with players attacking one another on each side of the map here. True's going to roll right in there. Banelings are available. That one tank going to die pretty much instantly.
Not bad. He's going to get the CC here as well.
And INnoVation's pulling
He's coming
back here.
home.
It's going to take forever for him to get there. He's going to take so much losses. True. Somehow making this a game.
Wow, he's wrecking the natural. He's picked off the 4th. The 3rd is in trouble, and this game is unfortunately going to have a little bit of a pause. But the damage is being done. Now, Todd, what do you think about coming home to defend there? No, we're back in it. Okay.
I feel like INnoVation should have gone for the counter-attack already being across the map, but he was probably afraid of Banelings rolling in on creep into his army. So he was like, I'll just clean up. Even if I lose a ton of SCVs, I'll still be all right. Thanks to my mechanics, I'll keep on expanding. And as long as I'm on 3 bases, I'm fine against this guy. And look, he denies the 4th base. So despite taking a lot of SCV losses, INnoVation kept most of his army alive. He's on 70 army against 66. With better upgrades.
Though. Yeah, I mean...
Not for much longer, though. True about to catch up
I feel like coming back is okay, especially because he once again denied the 4th with a single drop. If that gets thwarted, then coming back is like basically putting the whole game on that decision. As it is, I agree with you. It's a bit of a reset.
In control, look at the supply here. True starting to pull really far ahead, and that's mostly because of his walker counts, which means that if he only makes units from there, which I'm pretty sure is the plan, he's going to start on getting way more units than INnoVation and eventually have a way better army. And that's starting to be a little bit scary. So INnoVation might have to slow down. He can't attack here anymore, maybe. Just kind of sit back, get his own maxed out army. I mean, when I see this amount of tanks, like on the ground, he's going to be fine, right? Like,
Todd, this is amazing. I mean, you and I always knew that True had it in him to do this, but listening to Artosis and Tasteless specifically talking about how there's just no chance in the world. Isn't it just stunning? It's just crazy to see that we're here and Team Purple Pink knew this was coming, but everybody else just doubting, you know, and True now at 150 supply versus the 120, and this is where you can kind of see it. Like INnoVation was at 114, 115 supply, and it's not like he boomed back up to 160. His economy's been stunted, and all of a sudden we've got these Vipers out here. 3-3 tech coming in for our Zerg player alongside, a little bit behind an attack, but otherwise up there. And that's another place, too, where a Zerg can fall off. Is oftentimes it's Terran that gets to 3-3 very early, and then it's the Zerg that has like a 3-minute gap before they get to it themselves.
I love that INnoVation slowed down upon realizing, you know, like he was going to have a smaller army that cannot move across the map. Because otherwise, this might happen as well once more, right? True is always looking to go for this counter-attack. That's why he's pushing forward here.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually mean to attack into INnoVation's army. He just wants to make sure that if INnoVation moves across the map, he can do the same thing as he did earlier. Because if he keeps on doing that, he's going to kill all SCVs eventually. And then all you have to do is beat your opponent's army, and then you've won the game.
Now, one point of concern for me here is that True is just kind of tunnel visioned on what he's got. It's Hydraling, Baneling, he's got the Vipers. That's a great army, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to see a Spire behind this, an Ultra's Cavern, something. If you're going to stick on this tech, and INnoVation can dial into that, and like Todd talked about, if he can slow it down, get that fourth base up and going. Oh, this is a dead drop.
Grab him.
Come on now.
You don't even need to abduct. What is this?
No, man. Vipers just are there to watch. They bump up against the side of it, and they like, look in the window. You're all going to die. Super spooky, man. But it's Halloween coming up. It's applicable. Anyways, that's my point of concern. So I'd like to see some tech switch up there from True. You got what it takes, man. He's like, I don't know if I've ever had
Cavern would be
6
nice.
drones.
Especially when you look at how Marine, like there is not one single Molder on the map. Like sure, there's 12 tanks, but usually you're going to need Molders against Ultra. So eventually it should all lead to the big cows.
Yep.
Which if True were to add there, I quite like his position, you know, in terms of economy. 66 walkers. Not the highest amount that you can get, but it's enough on the amount of bases that he's got already being walking on his 5th base there.
And here we go. And my point of concern is becoming a little bit more real. INnoVation clawing up there. He's at 175 supply. Get his worker count back up and stable. The counterattack stuff is kind of flirting around the right side. It's actually going to go for it. Jumping in here. The wall in, not quite getting up there. INnoVation's going to come back home, but getting up this ramp's a chore.
And the
Vipers, not able to do it.
The Vipers are brilliant there because there were so many tanks. He's able to nullify them completely. Abducts.
Yeah, but it might be a tarp. Never mind. That's a medevac counterattack. Okay, I was going to say. He is going to chase out of here, and Todd, I got to kind of question it. Now, supply-wise, it wasn't super decisive there, but I don't know if I like that for True. He loses a lot of Ling Baneling. Doesn't really accomplish much.
He traded, I guess he got some of the tanks, which is very important, but I still see INnoVation making them 2x2 here in the production tab, but I guess True's happy like buying time and stuff, but I still wonder where that Ultra Skyrim is here. I really feel like he needs that eventually. He's building look at how much gas he's got. That's a lot of Ultras that he could actually add on here if he had tanks in his plating.
He has 3-3 melee too, like he's actually geared to have that tech.
It feels like True's trying to win even without getting any Ultra gear. Just Ling, Bane.
Well, here we go. He is on top of that 4th base, doing a lot of economic damage, so he's going to back away. Can he focus down the orbital? He's not even really going for it. Gets a lot of SCVs. 17 do die there. And these Lings are just so ripped. There goes the orbital as well. True. Scoring a nice victory, and that's it. INnoVation says, I've had enough of these shenanigans. GG is tapped out, and he can't believe it. True. 1-0 INnoVation so far. Drink it.
He's shaking. You see that?
Well, I would be too. The chair would have to be an incredible Maxnomic chair to hold my shakes. The water's spraying everywhere. Well done. And you know what? We talked about the cheese. We talked about, you know, Artosis talked about needing to have units in weird places at weird times. I think that's what actually happened here. It wasn't so much like some crazy cheese. I thought True played the map really well, knocking down the rocks. INnoVation didn't have a depot there, didn't see the rocks getting worked on, and then all of a sudden the 4th base dies, doesn't lift the command center, he loses to Lings. Little mistakes, and it's on INnoVation's side.
Yeah, if True can make it a chaotic game, I think he really lends to his style a lot more than INnoVation. I think INnoVation's been having a few troubles against Zergs here and there, but don't get me wrong, I really thought that the only Zergs that could beat him in these tournaments was Rogue and maybe Dog.
Nobody was
maybe Suiz if he has a great day, but definitely not True. So True playing so well here is a statement. You know, like, I mean, these players, they've known about the groups for around a month. They've had a whole month to think about it, to prepare their matches, and True has definitely done his homework here, and he had a great game plan, which worked out pretty well. The initial rush didn't particularly put him ahead. He caught up on the drone count very nicely, but even behind that, like, when I looked at INnoVation's army, I thought that his push was going to be very scary, but no, actually, it was true with the counter-attack and INnoVation pulling back that started getting really far ahead. And then he used the mobility of his army super well against the tanks. The Vipers were there for blinding clouds and abducts. He rendered the tanks completely useless that game. They almost did nothing.
That's always been the kind of dangerous thing about True, is it's not like there have been cheesy players in the past where it is the strategy that carries them to a win or a loss. You know, like the execution of it, of course, is going to be on a professional StarCraft 2 level, but you're not like impressed with any other element of their play. With True, he's not obviously the most incredible micro or macro player, but he actually executes on a very high Korean level. So, you know, if the strategy does okay damage, which is what I would call the beginning, they both kind of reset, maybe slight advantage INnoVation, and it was True that played the map better, and like you said, just did the little things to kind of trim the tank count down and do those things that allowed him to have that decisive advantage. That was really impressive. Absolutely well done. So, for those of you guys at home wondering, we're having a little bit of a pause here, probably working out a couple things between these two players, but as soon as we're ready, we'll get right into the game. For you guys, I hope you're having a good day. We're having a great time here. I think, you know, Todd, you're one of the more discerning eyes. What do you think of Nathanius' hosting? And just be honest, just you and me, basically. There's nobody else here.
He's doing good.
Is it okay?
I think he's doing good, yeah.
Okay.
Not Apollo level
not
yet,
Apollo.
but it's, you know, like
between him and
15
Kalaris.
years from now, maybe.
All right. You're on an island. On this island, there's a computer. It only has Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft 2, and you have Kalaris and Nathanius on this island with you guys. So you're all going to die. I mean, there's no procreation going to happen here.
Where are you going with this?
Who hosts your in-island tournament?
Well, on which game?
Both. Yeah.
Well, Kalaris on Heroes and...
He's a double threat, isn't he? Yeah. Okay. Well,
no, on Heroes and Nate on StarCraft.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, I have to pick one for both games?
You got to play politics, too, on this island, because if you upset one half of the population, the other one could rise up against you. It's a, you know what? Let's move away from the question. We'll come back to it. It's a loaded one, so I want to give you about a day to think about it. Who? Okay. I'm looking at the picture. Yeah, the picture in the background, it's like Matrix, Matrix laser, like. And actually, funny, I was going to make this point too. Probably the sweatiest, scariest nerd up there is like a laser after losing to Hero, gets a bit of a bop, and now he sees INnoVation down 1-0, and he's like, I don't want angry INnoVation in the elimination match. Don't do that. He was expecting True, probably.
Yeah, we saw Snoot not having the most of luck here with this yesterday, encountering stats in the lower bracket match and being eliminated. That was really sad.
All right, they're going to bring it to us, guys. So prepare your eyes. There it is. Also, the StarCraft DJ has dropped the music, and that's just so you can hear our voices better. But they're going to work out this issue. They say about 1 minute. And we'll be right back with that action. But for us, you know, Todd, what was one of your favorite moments from yesterday so far? I mean, we got to talk about the couch, but I haven't heard from you.
Neeb
against
Rogue, yeah, I think like that was amazing. Obviously, special binning stats was huge as well, and I really hope, like, you know, like it's funny, like we talk about special binning stats, like obviously it's huge and all, like, but it's happened so many times that special beats a top Korean. You have to go back to, you know, WCS America, like he beat Teja. Remember in that one group?
I do remember.
Every single time they met again in the decider match, and he lost.
I know.
It's happened so many times. So like, yeah, I'm so scared for him because now like he delivered. Now there is like a break in between, and he's gonna have to go. Obviously, first he's gonna have to play the winners match, but I mean against TY, it's gonna be pretty tough, despite him being really confident.
Sorry guys, there's like a fly that's a huge StarCraft 2 fan. Just came right in on Todd and I. Was like, Todd, Jeff. Anyways. Yeah, I have to agree. And I was talking about this in the morning segment. I'm actually really worried that...
Rotterdam. Come on, read it in his voice.
What is he saying? Oh, okay. What just happened? Sorry, we're reading the tweet there at the bottom. If you guys got some tweets, make sure and hit them up, too. You can have your tweet read out there on the bottom. But it looks like we're ready to go. Now, as I understand, by the way, I just got word from the producer in the ear. The tech problem was there was an improper program running in INnoVation's database, so we're actually able to kind of iron that out. He had not prepared for the eventuality of True beating him in that game, and we had to do a full reboot
Agent
on
Smith cleansed it.
Yeah, so we got that sorted out. This game should go as normal, guys. Don't worry for INnoVation fans. And speaking of INnoVation, that's him. In the lower left-hand side, as the blue Terran, it's INnoVation.
His opponent in the reds, we have Cyberstorm Gaming's True.
All right, you did it once, kid. Can you do it again on Mech Depot? And Todd, you were talking a little bit about it, but that's a huge thing of StarCraft is like winning one game can happen, and that's amazing. But to finish these series, because there is actually another gear with these guys. There definitely is like the first game butterflies where it's like, wow, that was really surprising. And then they focus and they really hit that next gear. Can you get past that? That's the tough barrier.
Yeah, and especially like if you're INnoVation there, I think you're going to be a lot more wary of, you know, these chaotic games. Obviously, when he sees an Overlord coming towards his middle line next time and he's to drop a lot, he's going to be like, okay, maybe I should be a little bit more careful about bailing drops, because as much as not necessarily every Zerg does this, I'm playing one of those Zergs that's capable of it and definitely will do that. I don't know, like I feel like the first Reaper dying was a big deal, actually, you know, like it doesn't feel like it's that much, but against True, yeah, you need to know what's coming, right? If you had seen the Zerglings hatching, if you had seen the Queens gathering, the Overlords flying quickly, all of those things, those are hints that an attack was coming. He could have been prepared better. Imagine if he had a bunker behind the third command center that he was building.
Todd, that's actually an amazing point, because I feel like if, you know, the Hellbats, I still do feel like, and I'm sure we agree, that INnoVation was ahead after the opener. Not by much, though, but by very little bit ahead. But if those Hellbats are back at home, and all those Lings essentially do nothing, then INnoVation is just like, now we slide into a mid-game macro game, and there's no way that True keeps up with INnoVation there. So I have to agree with you. The Reaper dying there, not getting that information, and INnoVation playing a chaotic game with a player like True, who that's probably just about every game for him, is where the beginning of the end started to be spotted. So let's see if that Reaper's a little bit more cautious this time. Now on Mech Depot, the map gets split kind of strangely. You can take your top left and your top right very, very up and down. But then once you expand beyond that, you're getting really close to your opponent. It's a very pushable map.
And there are multiple avenues that True can try to run by into the third base of INnoVation through. But it's still going to be way harder than, you know, in the previous map, like after those rocks were taken out, which, by the way, at the bottom side of the map, INnoVation started attacking his own for the longest time, which made it easier for True to actually get in there later on eventually.
And he also started, like, it's interesting, Todd, because I definitely think you bring up a really good point with that Reaper dying. I think that is the big point of that early game. But then after that, it's like one of those things that, especially in Brood War, just became an absolute must. Anytime there's a pile of a chokeway or some access point, you got to put a depot there. You have to have a spotter. If he sees those rocks getting worked on going towards his fourth, I think that game's also a very different game. But he just never saw it until the attack happened, and then he came home, and the damage was already done.
Yeah, Numitai Scarpe is already being researched here from True. We'll see if that's just for some scouting. There's something else in the works.
Which would be a sick con game, because like if he doesn't follow it up with drop and it's just like, hey, you see Speed Overlord again, maybe it's drop Queen. But it also gets intel, which is just great here for True. I love the way he's playing this so far.
Yeah, it's always with True, like you see these little hints, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. Like I guess the moment you find out is like when the units are finally in your base. So ideally, the trick is to try and find out about it before with those units that you have on the map. So you need to preserve everything alive. Make sure you see whatever is being made coming out of those eggs. And react properly to it.
So the Overlord will eventually get dragged down here by that Viking. We saw some Hellions kind of making their way out onto the map.
Notice how it checked the back of the mineral lines in the main base for an armory. It wasn't there, but immediately as the Overlords chased away, an armory starts over there in the natural. So this might surprise True, but since he was looking for it, it already kind of tells me that he's watching out for Hellbats, which INnoVation's known for.
And he's got a lot of Queens to start with. No Baneling Nest yet, I do not believe. You don't necessarily need the Baneling Nest, but it, especially if this gets a little bit weightier, you'll definitely start to want to see it. Double Evolution Chamber, more Lings coming out, and an okay number of Queens. But this is actually a moment here where INnoVation could get some damage done.
Yeah, the double Evo here is a huge investment by True. He needs to make sure that he has enough for the defense, in which case he'd be in a good position. Especially like he's starting Lair quickly as well. Yeah, I feel like he might be neglecting units a little bit too much there. Let's see if he can defend properly against this. It's going to be a multi-pronged attack with 4 Hellbats in the main and 4 in the third base, which is not saturated yet.
He's going to drag him onto that creep. There's no drones at the third, so they're going to go towards the natural. Working on that medevac and keeping the Lings back. Good patience here from True so far. And this attack over here does not have a medevac, so it's a little bit easier for the Lings. Oh, but that access point, oh my god, that's so rough. You need the Queens to get over here. He does have 2 now starting to work on this. The Queens over on the top end of the base.
These Queens are like team.
What are we doing? We're by ourselves. And this eventually, I mean, that little causeway is doing, no! Get the drones out of there. He's going to pull them back.
Where are the units of True? He's scrambling. He's trying to get some Zerglings out. He went for double upgrade against the big attack that he didn't spot. I thought he was still going to kind of expect it, but
look how
he saw no Armory and he was like, there's no way he's going to attack with Hellbats. Well, guess what? INnoVation still made the Armory and went for it.
And now the damage is being felt. The supply is starting to kind of reflect that. The Ling's just trying to buy some time.
Where's your chaotic game now?
And the Liberator's like a finishing touch. There are no queens. They went down pretty sloppily inside the main and natural. Some are going to start getting produced here, but so much time is just being siphoned away from True, and the actual damage is there as well. Queens come over here, but they're, okay, transfusion might keep, yeah, okay, the Queen stays alive, and they do destroy that. Third is, it's booming over there. That's a rock city of income. Freaking love minerals. So eventually this is going to go ahead and get, as they say, cleaned up.
Yeah, but in the meantime, INnoVation, we talked about it. It doesn't miss a beat. His production always on top of it.
Yeah.
Third base going to be set up, and he takes it forward as well. Like, notice he didn't take the one, you know, on the right-hand side of his natural, above his natural. No, he took the one forward towards the Zerg. So he's going to want to be attacking a whole bunch here.
Yeah, or it's actually fairly defensible too. If you just, as long as you spot those rocks and don't let your opponent work it down, it's right in front of your natural. So you just hold this one spot right there, and it defends both bases. So the only way to stop that is to get through the rocks, which INnoVation so far is not spotting, but I guess he just thinks that True's got bigger fish to fry.
And True started 2-2 quickly as well.
Yes.
Like, I think he realizes that as much as he survived, he kind of feels like he's going to have to do something special. And I think that 2-2, like, if he can complete that, that'd be great. But doesn't see this double medivac going across the map.
He saw it, but did he see it, Todd?
He saw it, but was he looking?
He did, yeah. Okay. That French twist on it, so beautiful. No, he didn't, by the way. So this is going to be some damage. And the Marine's moving into that neglected main base to get the spawning pool if he wants. He's not going to get there in time. He's just going to go ahead and trade it out. And the Queen is just now starting to focus on the medevac, which means that INnoVation's just happy to exchange everything here.
Yeah, the supply is plummeting here for True, and these are links that he cannot afford to die. He wasn't mining for the longest time, and INnoVation is like, all right, enough is enough. You won a game against me, but now INnoVation.exe is fully running.
Yeah. It's like a broke down tank that all the Marines were pushing up a hill like that. They're really, really good teamwork. And now he is at the third base over here. And by the way, when I say third base, that is worth noting. They're on equal bases, and like True's just trying to stay alive, so he hasn't even taken a fourth base. There's no fourth base to deny. He just hasn't even taken one. And I don't think he will get a chance, because I don't see this dying. Here come the Banelings. The Queens are just going to walk in. They are the Shield Mothers, and here come the Banelings, but they're not connecting with Bio. They're just dying in front. And with that, True is going to see a game 3 here, because that's the best he can hope for. 2-2 is just about to finish, but GG's called. INnoVation strikes back. A little bit of break in between games is allowing him to download the latest firmware. It included a patch for True, and it was used to high succession.
That was well patched.
It was well patched. That's a patch innovation there. And that's the coach of True coming in. Just do what you did in the first game.
Did you see how he drank the water?
Yeah. With his mouth. That's how I do it too, Todd. All right. Well, that first game was a bit of a doozy. Game 2, you know, we make a lot of jokes, but True had some good ideas there as well. I just think, like Todd pointed out, the full scout not really showing much of a commitment of anything. Then the armory goes down. And then kind of a weird moment where True doesn't have like a Ling in front to see the Hellions come out. Or, you know what, Todd, to be honest though, there was like an Overlord that flew over the tower and saw 8 Hellions. I don't think you necessarily like panic and go, those are going to be Hellbats, but certainly you have to consider it. You have to start kind of making a Baneley nest or something.
As much as the first Overlord, you kind of need to sacrifice it and fly it into the opponent's base to see the back of it, because there's going to be one Viking and one Marine taking it out. You still can have one more Overlord. You can fly it around the natural, maybe fly it around the main to try and spot an Armory and the exact amount of Hellions, and I think that's what True didn't watch out for enough.
Yeah.
He saw a little bit like he was told a story and he believed it.
Okay, good point. Yeah. From INnoVation, which is like, that's kind of funny because that is the almost stereotype of INnoVation, right? Like he's not the trickster Terran. He's not going to do those kind of things. So
It kind of feels like he's not even. He didn't even really try to trick through. Like he just kind of hit his build a little bit, but he was gonna go for that no matter what. I'm pretty sure, even if like.
Well, he hit like an element of it, right? The armory. Yeah. The Hellions were spotted. He's just like, these become Hellbats.
But it feels like he's gonna do that every game anyway. Like,
yeah.
Just a lot of Hellbats attacks. Knows what he's up against, and then a solid game. Finish things off.
All right, both these guys are backed into the corner. We're going to game 3 here of this best of 3. This is just the first time they've clashed, so whoever loses will have another shot, but it is a tough group. Nobody wants to lose this one. In the top right-hand side, striking back in game number 2 and looking good, it's INnoVation.
Thanks for Team Ballistics. His opponent in the reds, we have Sidestorm Gaming's True.
There's that StarCraft 2 DJ.
Was given some advice by his team captain, Penguin.
Yeah.
Between the maps. What do you think he told him?
I think he said just do what you did in game 1. That worked. We'll see.
That would be good advice.
Drew's playing good. He's playing good. He is facing what a lot of people think is one of the absolute favorites for the tournament. When I say absolute favorites, I mean, I don't think that we're doing that caster thing where like 13 of the 16 have a really great chances. No, it's like top 2 or 3. 3 at the like most generous projection. He's top 1 or 2.
Acolytes here are going to be on map number 3 with an interesting, overlay. You got a pocket expansion that you can go into. Zergs usually take the other one so that they can start creep spreading early, but since it's easier to take that pocket expansion, you can save it for later. It's not the easiest to defend though against drops. That's the main thing there. I wonder if either player will try to be tricky here with this. Obviously the main base is in an absolute corner of the map. INnoVation this time around, like, does he again go for an armor? It's very likely. Does he need to hide it? Not really. Yeah. And will True be better ready against the Hellbats? Because as much as he won game 1, it's not like, he was completely ready, he crushed with the defense. No, it was like a scrappy game with a counter-attack.
This is the better map to defend Hellbats, I feel, though. Like, getting between the 3 bases is quicker and easier. Connecting them with creep is a must and more intuitive and easy to do. But then also, there's a bit of a choke-ish area at the front of the naturals. So we saw in the Dark Kelazar series using, like, evolution chambers and stuff like that to kind of narrow the space to your benefit, by the way. Certainly that was the evolution chambers of True from last game were not helping him out as the Hellbats just kind of snuck in there and were like, yep, Lings can never touch us ever again.
Maybe some advanced ballistics from the ballistics player.
See, now you're starting to divide by 0 and my brain gets kind of frozen here. The Reaper going to circle around. True. Try and jump on top of it.
True always makes a lot of links actually against the Winter Reaper.
That's him playing to his image, though, I think. I think a lot of people look at that and go, wow, that's more than I'm used to. Oh, it's True. That equals I'm getting all in, so I need to defend. It can happen.
Let's see, we got the second CC about to finish. Starport's on the way. And usually, pretty soon is when the armory will go down. We see Pneumatized Carapace against Stadia here from True, so I think he wants to get the Scout once again. We'll see, actually, if he follows up Scout. I mean, that's assuming he would miss the armory in the first place. Double Widow Mine being made here. INnoVation's been playing a lot with Hellbats. Spores don't counter Hellbats.
No, it's not a drop. I was going to say he's going to make the medevac there, but no. Yeah. Okay, so I see your point. Yeah, no Spore Crawlers, so maybe a little bit harder to get that detection, delayed layer we've seen as well.
And because True opens with Zergling speed plus Pneumatized Carapace, his tech is going to be very, very late. And right now, INnoVation is even seeing all this.
So that Reaper, I think at this time you have to just say INnoVation sacrificing for information.
Yeah, he's happy. He's happy to have been able to spot for this long.
Do it. Don't be shy. There you go.
Yeah, very important to scout.
No, go deeper. What? What are you afraid of? All right, well, here comes just the Widowmine drop. Yep, it's going to push out here. A little bit of damage taken on that Hellion. So it had a tussle, and now it's going to go ahead and get a full scout.
And the Raven being made behind it. So INnoVation is just going to drop some Widow Mines, follow up with some auto turrets in those middle lines, kill a bunch of drones, and from there, probably take a third base, go into standard.
I think these strats are really funny to me, too, because you're dropping True. So if he drops that third, it's not even finished yet. Let's see here. The Widow Mine's making the way behind. No, he's not. He's just going to go for the main.
I think he's the best choice.
And there is a Spore Crawler. Surprise!
But then the Hellion sign in natural. Let's see if there's enough to defend there. Yeah. 2 queens, couple links.
All right. There it is. Joke's on you, INnoVation. He never saturates that.
I think he plans on it eventually, yeah.
Single,
Evo?
yeah, well, it's the second one, though. We saw the Evo block going on at the third. He's just thrown up behind this, man. Now, you were right about the Ravens, and that is one of the things about this natural that or this expansion that you were talking about, where those Ravens are a nuisance behind this basically forever. The only way that Raven ever gets dislodged is by a Spire or kind of some sloppy play, like diving in on a Spore Crawler or a Queen over and over again forever. But it's going to be a nuisance.
Yeah, they're going to keep on dropping auto turrets. True's going to have to react quickly. Medivac are taking a lot of damage prior to any kind of engagement. Isn't it funny when you see two Queens chasing away like that many Hellions?
Stay away! They both have a transfusion, I think, or at least are close to it.
And WB finally going down here for INnoVation. Third CC about to finish. He's happy with any damage he can do here because that means that he's not being attacked or pressured on the other side of the map and that he can go into a normal game from there.
That was the Raven who just missed. Great. He had it queued up. Oh no, it was a Spore.
No, yeah, he didn't drop auto turrets yet. Actually, he's saving up. He already has 2, soon to be 3. And I think there was another Raven made even, which he's going to fly around the natural base. So he's threatening basically mostly in the natural and third base. Plus these aliens down on the map, kind of pushing back the creep, buying him some time.
Got those Ravens circling around. Melee upgrades coming in for True. So far, I'm predicting a Hydra Den. It's just going to be kind of that normal composition. There it is, Hydra Baneling. Which on this map is pretty tricky, by the way. It's like the fight for the 4th base is kind of what it ends up being. You can't really get in on that choked in natural, so you're just giving INnoVation 3 bases and saying, I'm going to win overwhelmingly a fight around a 4th base.
Yeah, the Lynx, they're like out on the map. That means they cannot defend. Because these auto turrets, I guess you just pull drones, but then you lose a lot of mining time, and some of these drones die quickly. Oh, a nice early pull here actually from True. Very good job with that.
He does lose a Queen there, a little bit sloppy. The damage output from those auto turrets are pretty phenomenal. Ling's looking around, but they gotta be careful what they wish for. They're gonna find the Hellions here. Never mind, there's a lot of Lynx. So don't be careful about what you wish for sometimes. Be rather sloppy about it.
That was weird, because he had vision as well, right? Like, could have just pulled back. I think maybe he thought True was going to come from any sides, which he was, so he's like, I'll just stand there and do as much damage as I can. But that's a big pick off here for True, who kind of retakes map control with this.
Hellbats get that information like you were saying. They can actually add to the army, you're right. But we did get a shot of that really fancy drop that's kind of taking shape at 12 o'clock for True again here. It'll, to be continued. There's going to be more spikes on that Overlord, I think.
He might want to queue that while INnoVation's attacking across the map so that he's not looking inside of his mineral line. If you queue 2 at once, also, it's very hard to react.
There it is, Todd.
Yes. So smart. He's like, you want to drop auto turrets in my mineral lines? I'll show you what's better than auto turrets. Banelings on top of your SCVs.
Yep. With a couple of Zerglings in there, they've sharpened their little creepy hands.
Surprise!
And there they go.
This might get a lot. Oh my god. The one in the Pocket expansion's about to hit as well. And INnoVation is never reacting to this. This is a bit weird.
Yeah. That's kind of his thing, though, to be honest. INnoVation's not the most, his thing is production. And he's actually behind in that right now. So 16 SCVs do die. Now, the reason INnoVation didn't grab that is because on the lower right-hand side, he's taking shape for a pretty big push. It's mostly Marines, like Todd talked about earlier. And it's a bunch of Ling, Baneling, Hydra for True. Now, True just dealt a pretty massive wad of devastation to the economy of INnoVation. If he holds this, Todd, I begin to believe.
Yeah, but that's a great positioning here from INnoVation with 3 tanks. True's going to need a clean engagement there. He doesn't have centrifugal hooks yet. He's only started now. 2-2 about to finish. He's still going to engage earlier to try and make sure he can clean up. Remember, tanks cannot get picked up anymore by medivacs. And it looks like the cleanup is going to be there for True.
And the Baneling trying to connect. Nope, target fire from INnoVation on point, but he gets all the tanks, one of the medevacs, or 2 maybe.
He could have waited more, I think, for 2-2 to be finished, because now, I mean,
and he's down in supply every time. I don't know how it happens. Every fight with INnoVation, there's just like some weird agreement. It's like, you're going to be ahead in supply.
Adrenal glands now starts here for True, as well as centrifugal hooks finally being on the way. But I mean, INnoVation's taking a 4th base. He's making a planetary there. He's in full swing right now. 2-2 about to finish for him.
He has a massive army as well, 90 to 70 right now. Like,
Yep.
he's just going to keep on pressing forward here, I think, on this right-hand side. The 9 creep already here in advance.
Is he 3-3, right? No, Terran's 2-2 and hasn't started 3-3, interestingly enough. So, well, as I say it. True's got some things going for him. Another point of concern here is I don't think there's a 5th base started up, so
Oh my god,
he's
these
like
Ravens.
holding on for his life. He's losing some drones, some mining time. And
These
the
Ravens
army
are
is
so
bigger
sick.
for INnoVation, like you said, with no 5th base behind this. It's going to be tough.
These Ravens have prevented so much mining time. They killed so many drones. Like, they've done a lot here this game.
All right. That position seems to be kind of a point of interest here. Ling's circling around, trying to cut off some reinforcements. Not a bad idea, but he's going to have to wait a little bit longer because the reinforcements is too big. And True trying to get a circle around this spot here. Does he have enough? Does he have enough to jump up there and deal with this?
I think INnoVation's reasoning when he reacts slowly to the bailing drops is that he doesn't care about being bailing drop because then he's going to counter-attack,
Yeah.
and those bailings are going to be missing in the main army
we
of True
go.
here, who's going to engage into this Marine tank force.
Those Banelings back there are so important. Just now getting target fired, and they are going to jump on top of this INnoVation army. There's a left flank coming in, and most of the medevacs this time do retain their health, but not bad by True.
Yeah,
Able to
he
kill the
engaged
tanks.
before the reinforcements got there. I think that was the main point. He's like,
Yeah.
I need to go right now because if these reinforcements get there, it's going to be much harder, which is the really clever way you need to play here in this situation.
And he came in from multiple angles, and Todd, the time has been bought. So if these 3-3 upgrades can get up there, a 5th base is being queued up, then True's hanging in. Now, as you pointed out, these Ravens continue to be a problem, and this is where, okay, so some other tech is coming in here from True. There has to be some form of an answer. Can't let him go on forever.
Remember how well the Vipers countered the
Yeah.
huge tank style here from INnoVation in game 1. I think True's just going to want to look to do the exact same thing this time
Yeah.
around. If he can land a blinding cloud of 4 tanks, he's always going to get a great engagement. If some ducks are needed, he's going to have those. Usually you want to go to at least up to 3 Vipers. He's going to be fully upgraded soon. What a series, man. I was
Not
expecting
bad.
this to be the most one-sided series of the day, but it's been far from that here. Very competitive one so far.
And stellar commentary by you and I, looking good, feeling good, just everything about this is just phenomenal. But here we go. INnoVation's going to push back out. He's just now taking, he's taking a 5th and 6th base behind this. Not a bad idea. And this creep tumor is going to very aptly spot what otherwise could be a very annoying little kind of counter drop, because most of the attention's on this right side. And here comes that tank crawl, now coming in from a different angle. And that angle, Todd, is a little bit rougher for a multi-angle kind of pincher move. You almost have to come at this head on.
Hey, there's fighting on the left-hand side, both in the pocket expression. This one Raven, this Dawn Raven,
Done a lot.
finally. No.
For God's sakes. It's a Reaper. It's a Reaper Raven.
And then
All right.
On the right-hand side, the creep spread still being denied consistently here by INnoVation, who's staying barely just right outside of it.
Great move here from True, though. He's going to go ahead and deny that top-end base. There's an abduction, so one of the tanks that clawed a little bit too far forward is going to get zeroed out. True finds some time. More Banelings getting morphed here as well. Knocking on the door, but he's going to go ahead. Well, that is a planetary that he's heading towards, so probably not going to get too much done there.
You might want to be careful, by the way, with that hatchery. He's getting energy from here with the Viper. You don't want to damage that too much yourself.
Don't help out INnoVation. Now, I like this, though. He's picking up some reinforcements. He's going in. No. So that'll be the other angle. And here comes the Viper. Okay, well, you lived a good life, Raven. Went out a little bit good. And we're going to have that attack now. Here comes the Vipers. They're going to jump on top of this tank line. Where the Blinding Cloud's going to go down. I think one of them didn't have energy, actually. He's kind of saving it. He's just going to jump in here on top of the Spy Force. There's the Blinding Cloud. Again, zeroing out that other tank. It dies for free. Medevac's getting abducted here now. And now, well, off creep, INnoVation's going to be the one to push back. But Bailey's going to turn around and try and make that a different story. And they connect a little bit there with some Marauders.
INnoVation's pressure has made it very hard for True to defend this effectively. You know, like I think he might have lost some of his Vipers, like the other one didn't have much energy, like you say. Like if True can get 3 Vipers and they're full energy, this is ideal for him. Then he's going to have so many Blinding Clouds and Abducts. But now that just wasn't the case. So we see him adding on 2 more Vipers right now, which he's going to need also importantly here.
And he's just
INnoVation
frozen
will
on his
keep
tech.
on attacking.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, he's doing a lot of things right there, but he's just frozen on this. There's no Spires, no Ultra Cavern. And that worked for True in one of the other games. Spotting this Widow Mine, just really smart play there. He's going to, again, flirt with the counterattack, get himself... Oh, wow.
He's
well,
going to dance
more
with
than
the
he can
devil.
chew on. Yeah, there's too much stuff in there. But getting good intel, not bad. And now some Liberators being added to the mix. I have to say, Liberators aren't the scariest to be added into this composition. They're still great. They're Liberators, but against Hydras and against Vipers and stuff like that, the tools are there, and what they're hitting is like a Ling or Hydra, which is a pretty low-cost unit. So,
INnoVation scans here all of the advanced expansions here of True, sees the saturation, sees the army. He's probably like, that's it? You don't even have the left side?
And here we go.
Advanced ballistics being added on here, so I wonder, he might be anticipating some sort of ultra transition that's just not even there.
Which is funny. It's like it's overthinking him. But this is what Liberators can do, is while we're fighting over here, I'll go ahead and shut down that left side base.
Phew.
And there's not a lot of drones, by the way. It's not like True has 100 drones. He's actually only got now, about 60 or so. And it opens up opportunities for this moment. So this time is being taken. The Liberators are securing that top ground, so I will say they've had a huge impact so far. Really spreading the multitasking of True, and True's like backed up here, and the only reason he's been able to win these fights over here is from multiple angles, but he's had to send so many units away that this position has been secured by INnoVation now.
Yeah, the mining time was prevented for some time. He still is on the left-hand side base
He's
here.
gonna go
Blinding
in.
Clouds needs to land big time here for True to have a chance, and as these Banelings start rolling in, some huge Blinding Clouds here preventing the tanks from shooting. And it looks like True might yet again be able to clean it up here.
He's doing all right for himself. The Blinding Clouds, like you said, are a pretty big deal. It gets on top of this. The Liberators are really the big damage dealers. And True, once again, able to dislodge that location with surgical Viper play.
But here's
absolutely
the problem.
Phenomenal.
In the meantime, he's not doing any kind of economic damage. There hasn't been, like, the run-by haven't done enough. There has been no Baneling drops across the map. And he keeps on losing his Vipers. Only one survives in that last fight here.
Liberator with 10 kills. No, excuse
15.
me, 15. Point out by our observer. Thank you very much. That's they will get a few promotions. And now that 12 o'clock is being scouted out by these Lings, so they're going to get there and dislodge that just in the nick of time.
That's actually nice.
A lot of SCVs dying, actually. And only a couple of tanks respawning. Tanks, you gotta be careful. Okay, no, they got some friends. Now, Todd, to your point, this is going to become a bigger deal as time goes on here. Like, that 12 o'clock, as it gets saturated, secured, becomes a planetary. All of a sudden, these fights where True is winning are going to be more expensive on his end by a significant margin. He's just at 57 drones. He's adding a few here and there, but INnoVation is now going to be on like 2.5 healthy mining bases. He can afford to trade.
Absolutely, yeah. He can replenish very quickly as well. He has enough infrastructure. And it's easier for him to replenish his army as well, right? Like, True, if he loses the Vipers, he not only has to remake them, but then he has to make sure he gets enough energy up on them before the next fight. True did go into, I think, what was one single infestor is getting Burrow as well. So might be looking to try and land a money fungal Blinding Clouds on a huge chunk of the army of INnoVation, which I think, like, has potential, but I've almost never seen executed well enough, you know, to impact those games.
And here it is. He's got to dislodge from here. There's no way. When Liberators are on top of your base like that, getting the proper fight is just so hard to do. And that base is secured as well. And all of a sudden, True, who had these starry eyes and was putting up a fight against INnoVation, doing a great job, is staring down the barrel of one of the scariest players in StarCraft 2. That Evolution Chamber is tragically, possibly, it's going to die as well with Tier 3 just on the cusp of finishing. And those positional fights that got True to this spot seem to become harder and harder to establish.
Yeah, he's so hydraulic heavy as well, which is hard to pull off against that many tanks. Obviously, he needs to land the proper ducks. Catches a bunch of those Liberators. He saw that thanks to the creep tumors in the middle of the map. But now INnoVation still posturing forward here with a lot of bio and Liberators, advanced ballistics, which, I mean, hydraulics, they get shot down from so far here.
Well, I mean, that Ling counterattack is doing a lot of work. They could have got on top of the production. They're trying to get up there now. He's losing some key buildings behind here. True's trying to figure out where to pick his spot. He is on top of the production. It's really just Liberators that are going to clean this up. And even that slowly. But it's all about this kind of central fight. And INnoVation's now going to try and get on top of the production. But I think there's Lings inside the main jumping on top of that portion. I'm going to go ahead and kill this bio here as well. So much going on around the map.
INnoVation keeps on scanning the army.
It's got to be now.
As a warning, don't engage into this. True finally gonna go for it. We see some ducks landing. He's gonna clean up once more. It looks like as True is taking the top side of the map.
He's gotta go now, Todd. He has to go now. You need to win this fight and go kill that base and somehow snowball. He's got 55 drones behind this. He has the supply advantage. He was on top of the production. He knows there's not a giant swell of Terran behind this. If you got anything in you now, it's now or never, True.
He's got a lot of Hydralisk left over. He's remaxing on Hydralisk. I think he's just going to try to basically make this mass of Hydralisk that just doesn't die and kills everything as it's clumped up and does too much damage. That PF is going to die
INnoVation might try to defend
fast.
here. If he tries to defend here, there's no Vipers, though, to your point. The Vipers are all back at home, so he picks off the base. If the Vipers were here, I feel like he abducts those Liberators forward, and this might be the end for INnoVation. But as it is, he loses the base, but is able to push the army back. And True's going to try to collect himself as he again deals damage with these Liberators.
Yeah, this guy is, I think he's the one from earlier. 24 kills.
Yeah.
What a boss.
Somebody put that Liberator down. It's had way too much fun. True's going to go back home and kind of collect himself. Now, again, at 12 o'clock, there was 3 command centers being made. One floated to the top left. This is it. If that goes down, INnoVation has no money coming in for the most part at all.
And INnoVation is going to be pushing at the top left-hand side here. I think, did he even see that base here close to him? No, he didn't, but he might just happily run into it.
That's a gold base, man. This Marine's like, should I go up the ramp? Nah, I'm going to walk over here. Very fortunate for True so far, but he's circling around. And these two armies, again, I give favor to True. True's army, if he can get the abductions on those Liberators forward, he's going to win the fight.
He's playing great. Like a lot of Zergs, they would have given up on those upgrades as well. He's like, nah, I'll restart that +3 missile. Like, sure, you canceled it, but if I can get that with that many Hydralisks, he's going to be deadly. And now he might engage before the Liberators are ready.
They're going to get pulled forward. They're almost immediately picked off. Now below this is a concave of bio, and one Liberator survives with just very little health. True's going to back up and think that he needs to. He's going to go ahead and do that. A couple more Liberators do go down, and all of a sudden it's INnoVation committing to this fight on the ramp. He's the one getting surrounded by a concave of Hydra. Isn't enough? The Fungal lands central and just melts a lot of the force, but the Medivacs giving that staying power.
And 36 links here on the way. True, he cannot fight with just the Hydralisk that he's got there. He's trying to buy a little bit of time. He's moving forward and backwards, trying to kite
close
against this army here of INnoVation, who very importantly needs to shut down that gold base.
He doesn't have energy on these Vipers. He's going to need to go ahead and start draining away on that hatchet that's already low health and getting worked down by those Marauders. He's going to dislodge this. It was an aggressive expansion to begin with, and that's okay. Behind this, he has some other bases to be mined, including that golden base. True is playing patient and making the right choices. Yeah. He's disengaging at the right time. This is amazing play from him. We underestimated him.
This was nothing but a backup gold, Jed.
Yeah.
He took both golds. He's like, if you kill one of them, I still got the other one.
That's right. It was fool's gold, man. He's like, if you don't find this, great. If you do, okay, man. We'll go somewhere else. And True's going to get the bad news.
Yeah, he's re-expanding very nicely, actually. Like on the bottom right as well, in the very corner. He needs to do that.
Bit of a clash, 12 o'clock. That's the two main armies. You got to be careful. It's all about position here. You don't aim move those Hydras and Lings and hope to win against this. It has to be abducting the Liberators, a concave, a spread, Ling counter. It has to be all of the above, and True's been doing it. He's been walking that tightrope for 23 minutes. And as Todd was kind of pointing to me here at the caster desk earlier, 3 attack range upgrades about to finish for True. So he muscled back in there. He committed to it. He knew that if he doesn't get there, his Hydras, which is his main damage dealers right now, are not going to get it done.
And he has so many Hydralisks that this is actually going to be super important. There's that one Steph Curry infestor, you know, burrowed down there, by the way.
Which there it is.
He's fishing for that one fungal, which he got earlier. Let's see if he can get it again. Blinding Cloud going to be very important on top of this army. If he can get it, he lands a huge fungal, some abducts as well.
And there is that Blinding Cloud. It's going to push back that force. All the Liberators are getting chewed up here. And it's a slight supply advantage for True. He's pushing back this force, but now he's off creep. He needs to be very careful. Blinding Cloud, really his edge winner there, if you will. Fights back, gets back onto creep, and again, there's that patient, great decisions made by True.
And he finally started microing his Vipers better, by the way. He pulled them back this time, made sure he didn't lose them. The supply is so even. 154 to 159. About the same worker count and about the same army, and they are 3-3-3 on everything.
True is going toe-to-toe with INnoVation, and nobody thought this possible. They didn't see it coming. Well, you got our attention now, True. This has been a beautiful game. Now, INnoVation behind this has taken top left. He's taken 12 o'clock. So all of a sudden, losing a base has not become the end for him. It's become a little bit more drawn out. This link counterattack's going to, again, get in here. INnoVation not going to allow him easy access up on top of the production. And that is a gold base being established for INnoVation, by the way. And I feel like that's some kind of linchpin moment that's happening. If INnoVation can get that influx of money coming in, it's going to be really hard to deal with him. And there it is.
We're getting to the point here where it's really hard for either player to attack into one another. And as much as the Vipers in the first place, it almost felt like a surprise that they were there. Now INnoVation is starting to adapt. I think he's going to try to spread out a little bit more with those Liberators, make sure that, you know, the abducts are costly and that, you know, True
Oh.
cannot replenish on time.
Oh,
Yeah, this
really
would be
nice
bad.
snuff out there. Those Lings and those Banelings could actually drop
Oh, he's
down
trying to
and
catch
plant
them.
there. And he's going to get pursuit. Nobody gets out of here alive with INnoVation. Turn around, takes a few losses, but here's one of the... Oh, wow, it wins position, actually. They're going to get on top of this. Liberators need to be careful. Unaided, they're in a really bad spot there. The Vipers do bleed forward a little bit, and it costs him a couple of them almost immediately. So he dislodges this in a little bit of miss micro. Oh my god, that freaking Infestor is right there. And it's a giant force of Marines, too.
So sick.
This one fungal that could happen...
Like a giant shark on the water waiting to
It's got
strike.
my entire body clenched. Like, well,
there you
never
go.
mind. And release. We're okay. We're back to normalcy.
Bottom right base, I think he's being saturated by True. That was scanned not too long ago by INnoVation,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a Liberator or even like a single Medivac with some Marines there to try and kill some drones.
And I'd love True to keep trying that left side, by the way. Send more Lings, send more Banelings. It's an expensive counterattack, but if he drops that planetary top left...
Oh, he might catch him.
Whoa! He gets behind the Liberators. He's behind the Liberators. He's going to pick off one, maybe two here for free. It's a multi-prong attack. It could be decided right now. The Hydra's coming down the ramp. They're going to abduct a few of those Liberators. The Bioforce is strong, though, and that's a huge spread. I don't think True can do it. Can he? He's going to try to get those Banelings forward. They do connect on some level, and it's just enough to whittle them down, but both armies are bludgeoned. And it's actually True that comes out behind here. If you look at the supply,
Yeah, he lost a lot there. That wasn't worth it. He had only one single Viper. Like,
Man.
sure, he cleaned up most of the army of INnoVation, but INnoVation is going to be able to replenish a lot better. And again, he
behind.
scanned that base. He knew that was one of the biggest threats here. If he lets True mine from this, dispatch just one single Liberator, that's another Butcher here in the making here with
Yep.
11 kills.
what an absolute slaughter we're having back and forth. But it is INnoVation that so far was able to gain that advantage. Like Todd pointed out, the Liberator cutting into True's kind of soft economy at this stage. The fight looked even, if not a slightly, like a 2 Hydra advantage win for True, but it's
Yeah.
just so much harder for him to replace the Vipers, the Hydras, the Lings, the Banelings than it is for Terran.
As much as he came in from behind, like with just one Viper, it's so hard to win those fights, but he might have felt compelled to go for
Yeah.
the fight because INnoVation was so close to the one mining base of True on the left-hand side. He could have gone for the counter-attack technically and hoped
Yeah.
that INnoVation, much like in Game 1, would have pulled back, but now we're in a situation where INnoVation is just going to have so much more and he's going for the kill here.
Yeah, he's going to jump on top of this, but now the spread from INnoVation is again exchanging forces and even taking the advantage for himself. A 30 supply advantage. INnoVation is going to push forward here. We're fighting off creep as well, so some Hydras come over to try and add some muscle to this, and the Viper might just go ahead and flutter away with its life. It's got to be so careful. It's very low in health. It has to defend this gold base. I mean, True can lose a little bit of army, but if he loses the base, that's it. It's over. And he's going to fight this. One Liberator kind of comes in to try and contribute, but it's not enough. Lings on top of the gold base. It's
Somehow,
True.
4 links find their way
Holy
across
cow.
the map. INnoVation reacts on time not to lose any SCVs there.
But
It
the
should be
parade,
his game here.
Oh man, the
INnoVation, provided like there isn't like some, I don't know, some Infestor coming out of nowhere and landing
Yeah.
some massive fungal, but I don't think there is even one single one of those. He's fighting on creep. That's how confident he is he can finish the game. But True has been such a boss this series. He's staying alive, and he's finding some damage here once again.
Gets a few more SCVs down. The left side looks like it's going to be claimed by INnoVation, and that's a big, big deal. A lot of those drones are going to make their way to the other bases. So he has other bases to mine from. It's just more that he needed all 3 of them to mine from to really keep up with INnoVation here. And as you said, we're going to have that fight. It looks like it is going to be off creep. There's that one Viper from earlier. It gets the abductions off. A couple of Liberators are going to die, but there's so much INnoVation, and the supply differential is just too much. True. Reality comes crashing in. Gave a hell of a fight, and there's still some fight left in him, I think, but losing that left side, losing the army, losing the final Viper, and having another Liberator do a little bit of damage here is just too much, Todd.
Yeah, I think this is going to be it here. INnoVation's powering through.